It's the 600 LA days and then the 400 out of state days.
Yeah, Ian, did you know about that? Yeah, like
No, I don't know shit about union
yeah,
stuff. That
like
blows my mind. I
if you're
understand.
not doing the training program, it involves basically leaving your home and doing third area days so you can come back to work in your home. The system makes no sense.
It makes no sense at all.
How much of that is in your control? Like, I do travel jobs sometimes, but I have no idea. Like, the only time I've ever done them is when they just are randomly offered to me. It's not like I have a say in when they come.
I mean, neither do we.
Is it the same thing? It's
Yeah.
the same thing. You just gotta get lucky.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to Real Dopes. We're here. As always, I'm George, coming to you from LA. That's Ian, coming to you from New York. We got a pretty good episode for you guys today. We'll talk about what's going on. We'll give you a little recap what's going on in our work life. Then during Connie's Corner, we're going to change up how serious we've been and watch a little Cheech and Chong's next movie. And then finally, we're going to have Vanessa Avila on, and she's going to tell us about what she's been up to. Quick little background, Vanessa. I met her pretty recently, actually, for the first time. Always heard her name, funny enough, because she has a social handle that's kind of like film life, work life kind of thing. And a long time ago, it told me, you should follow this person. I said, sure. And then I was on set about 2 months ago, and I was like, are you so-and-so? You know, like this is you. Like, hold on a second. Like, you're them. But yeah, she's I met her because she's a killer PA. She was doing first team. She was saying she was aspiring to be an AD, if I remember correctly. But she's one of those people who has the unique, like Hollywood's kind of always been a part of their life, including some child acting and stuff. So, to some degree, it's like whereas you and I kind of moved for it. So it'll be interesting to talk to her about all those things.
Yeah, someone who's like born and bred in it, like it's been in their life forever.
But yeah, what's up, man? What have you been up to?
So dude, this week has been a work week. I'm thankful to have another job come up super last minute. Got to come in, and these last two things that I've done, I kind of got to come in and be like sort of a fixer. Like you just kind of come, not that I gave them access like in the traditional sense of a fixer of like getting things they couldn't get, but I come in and I just help clean up the operation and do things that other people don't have the bandwidth to do. Just grinded for like 7 days straight, and the project was really cool. The director is Marilyn Ness. She's a like multi-award winning documentary producer. She did this documentary Camera Person that's apparently critically acclaimed. She produced the fucking Michelle Obama documentary that like won an Oscar or something. And then the producer on this was Beth Levison, and she is a fucking heavy hitter in the doc world too. So it was funny to come in with a bunch of doc people and make something on more of a commercial, like larger scale. The art team, dude,
Yeah.
the people they brought on, everyone was fucking union. Well, they were union, like no one was working, and it was like sort of a side thing. Everyone took lower rates to make this work, but it was like a union operation except for production. Production was very non-union.
This is very typical in these situations.
Yeah.
I remember that. It's like we get the table, they get the truck. You know what I mean? It's like it's always one.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's like, yeah, it's based on who you know. And like once you get to a certain point, if you're going to like sidestep from one very high level style of product making, like filmmaking, you're going to bring in like you may go down into where you're less experienced, but you're going to know the people that are high up where you're at the other side. So that's what leads to the imbalance. It's just who you know.
Yeah.
But it was fucking cool. I haven't worked on something with that many people on an art team in a while, and it was cool. There was like an EDI meeting too with everyone. Dude, there was like the subject of what we were shooting was about the director's abuse, like as when she was a child, like sexual abuse. So they had a person come in and talk to us and sort of get us all prepped into the headspace of being around something very difficult to observe, and just sort of giving everyone the space to, like, if they feel something, they can step away. Who do they talk to? What to be aware of? And there were a couple times where, like, we had everything sort of blocked off around the set. So there was the set, and then it was all blacked off, and then I was in the back, like, outside of the black box. And there was a couple times where people, like, sort of trotted out, like covering their face, like crying. Like, the shit was fucking heavy. But it was cool. It was rewarding. A lot of hard work. I'm learning more about boundaries. That was kind of what,
like your
I'm
own,
glad
like
that
what you're willing to put up with, or
what I bring. Like, you know, like, I try really hard on jobs, and when I'm not, like, you know, I try really hard, and I can work for a much higher rate than what I was working at for this one, and I sort of brought my, like, top tier rate behavior, which is I take a lot on myself. I do a lot of things myself. I'll go I'll work longer hours. I don't usually charge overtime because I'm in production. I understand. And but overall, very positive experience, but definitely sort of cracked a little bit of my understanding of myself just on how much I put into this, and it just wasn't, you know, the money wasn't. I'm working on balance. How
But you
about you,
don't-
though? Did you? Yeah.
I was
Sorry,
just,
you
but
go.
you're, so ultimately you're saying kind of like boundaries and stuff. You're looking within for just how to change or improve things. It's not like, oh, I want to get out of this.
No, and that's sort of the line that I've crossed, is like, I've for years have been saying, like, I want to AD more, I'd rather not produce, and I've always felt like that was giving the wrong message, because saying stuff like that makes people want to call you less. And really what I've realized is that it's just been my management of this position. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have anyone that showed me how to do this.
Yeah.
I figured it out on my own, and now I'm like, so the boundaries that I'm stumbling across and tripping over, and at the end of, like, a really rewarding job, I just sort of feel like there's a pit in my stomach sometimes, and I feel like I didn't get what I deserve, but no one asked me to do all the shit that I did. So it's like I'm working out a system, a way of approaching work, like a line of questions that I can ask, and like a mental place that I can put myself, where instead of acting more, I can think more and plan more and spend more time delegating, no matter what position I take. Because that's really the biggest thing, is just in non-union world, things can come to you in a trash bin, and people will just say, "Thank you so much. Here's the trash. Like, please fix it." And the only things coming my way, I'm like, I feel like I'm in a process of building a new network. You know, with when work gets slow, you've got to make new
Gotta
people.
keep it moving.
And then
Yeah.
because if the people that were hiring you before aren't hiring you anymore for whatever the reason, they moved, whatever. It doesn't have to be your fault, but you just need more people. Like, the reason people aren't working now is because the people that hire them aren't working. And so but there are people working. The rental houses are fucking busy in New York, like, really fucking busy. So just trying to shift my head on all that.
Yeah. No, I feel that completely.
What about you? You said you had something recently, right?
Yeah. Had an additional day. I'm a real boy.
Yay!
Yeah. No, it's funny. So it sucks. Like, it sucks that I can't say what show it was, because it's the first episode of a new show, and I know it's been mentioned in trades, but it hasn't been mentioned in detail that it's shooting. So I'm just like, okay. But no, it was cool. So it was great to really be back on set. And again, I know I was on set a little earlier in the year, back in like February, whatever, but this felt more, in some ways, this felt more like what I was used to, in terms of just like the energy, the amount of people, and the background. There were so many familiar faces. It was like all kind of like coming together. Like, I even saw the UPM for this show was the same UPM that graduated me out of the training programs, and that's the first time I've seen them since.
Yo, that's sick.
Yeah, so it's like, in many ways it was like refreshing for my own health, but it's funny the things you say reflecting, because I was like, man, I'm almost the opposite of you for the same result, where instead of, because you were saying what, like, act first, think Or no, you said you wanted to act less, think more to a degree, right? That's what you said.
Yeah.
I almost need to think less, act more, and it's really just because the consistency of how it's like. I'm making too many rookie mistakes here, and I'm beating myself up. But the more you dwell on it, and I'm the type of person who knows how I'm gonna think about this tonight, but not think about it now. But first day, I was like, oh man, are we all experiencing that as we got back into things here?
The answer is fucking yes. Like it's muscle memory almost more for production and ADing and stuff. It's muscle memory. It's less a trade than it is a management of people. Like,
Yeah.
it's like if you worked at hotels for 3 years and then showed up on the first day and had to manage a bunch of annoying clients, like people walking in and complaining about room service. It's like what you forget what it means and what it feels like to be in those social situations. So it makes sense. Like, also coming in for one day on something, even if it's right at the beginning, like that's got to be its own sort of thing, you know. Like I know you like it, and it's got to be cool to come in and come out, but also like people get in grooves pretty quick. Give it 3 days, and people sort of have their little family going.
Yeah, see, I love it. Like how you were saying, you meet new people and whatnot. I'm like, part of why I love it. Like I had a UPM who I love working with, Kendall, who one time saw me and was just kind of like, "Do you ever staff?" You know, but I can usually deal with that. Like that pressure is usually gone if I'm doing it more often. That's why it was kind of wild. But
you just got to get acclimated.
Yeah,
you're unacclimated now.
I was about to say on the topic of being acclimated, man, it's like, you know, when you got your slow days, even if you have a fitness hobby or whatever, it's like you're not banking 10,000 steps in your day, probably. You know what I mean? Like you're in that 5 to 10 range. When I finally got home, like I got home close to 10 at night. I left my house at like 5:30 in the morning. And when I finally looked at my phone and was like, let's see, and it said over 27,800 steps. I was like, right.
That's a fucking day. That sounds like a location day to me, or a big studio day.
Oh yeah, it was at this. Everyone out here is familiar with it. It was this thing at the LA Convention Center where every now and then you get called there, and I feel like I've never shot at the same place within that structure twice. Because every time I'm like, how is this place this massive? Like, where's this? Like, every time, new floors, new area, new section, new parking lot, like in the under garage. I'm like, what is this? And it's all like the whole complex basically across from crypto. But I'm like, I can't even process it every time.
Dude, convention centers as like a structure, just when something is titled convention center, it's so like even the small ones, even in Baton Rouge, there's like, we have a convention center that's used for like, they'll play hockey there, they'll have big concerts there. And there have been several times where I go there for a concert and I just end up in some bowel room that I've never seen before. I've lived here, fucking crazy. And it's a small city, small place, small convention center, but there's still rooms that just pop up out of nowhere when they're needed.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine LA.
Yeah. I remember at one point, I forget what I was even looking for. I'm trying to basically find an elevator for whatever specific room I had to go to next. I hear from down the hall the locations manager just being like, "Wrong way, George." And I was like, "Well, actually, I'm looking for this." And even they were like, "Wait, huh?" Like, because they killed it with the signs and stuff. But even then, they were like, "That's true." Like at this point, where does that go from here? Like,
yeah. Wait, to turn around or what the fuck? Yeah.
Yeah. So it was wild, but it's great to be back. And there's always the joke of like if you ever want a vacation, or if you ever want work, plan a vacation,
book
or
a
book
job.
a ticket. Yeah. So literally on that set, I got a call for some upcoming stuff, like including one day this week for some Ryan Murphy show and things like that. So I was like, okay, let's see where this leads. But it's just funny. It was like, this is all it took. Like, knock on wood, but it was just like, like you're waiting all this time. And it's like, all I had to do is show up on a set, or at least for someone's like brain to go, oh yeah, George.
Yeah, dude. No, for real. Dude, we were talking about that weeks ago where it's like, you've just got to be seen. You've got to be around. Like, so much. There's online. There's so many places to get jobs and to put your information and stuff, but it's all fucking word of mouth. Like, the reliable work. Like, I feel like I've never gotten a random job on the internet other than like word of mouth, but I have friends like DPs that would, I have a couple friends whose like careers started from just answering some weird rap video and then all of a sudden they meet everyone that had led to their like next 2 or 3, 4 jobs, and then after that everyone else, and then it spreads out, and then everyone's cheering.
Wow, we did it.
But
We are gonna have a different Mac thing show up every time you speak.
Yeah. Well, oh, dude, I just found out about this.
No,
like,
right when you were
Conci
saying
showed us this
cheering,
one.
like confetti happened. Wait, what?
Yeah.
The...
Conci showed us that one.
Oh yeah. I feel like everyone who's watching could see. They're like, there's a little bit more of a smile to both of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
also,
crazy shit up here, but
yeah, I'm so stoked that it's like picking up for you too, because it kind of feels like. I'm just hoping that this is the tide coming in. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean it's either
and
this
not
or
just-
feetfinder.com. So I'm narrowing it down.
OF. I'm gonna start at OF next week.
Yeah, it's just gonna be different just different Aries. Just like look at this one, look at that one.
Did you see the solar eclipse? What, like, did you look at it at all?
So it's
probably
funny. Oh,
wasn't
yeah,
much
because last
from
time we
where
were
you
talking
are.
about the eclipse. So yeah, that's true. Hey, this is it. This is what it looks like when the world ends. We're here.
Yeah, earthquake and then the eclipse and then
This is
just
it.
keep going. Everything's ended.
Everything looks the same, but we're here. But no, so like not shit happened in LA, you know. But because it was a normal day, I even didn't realize what time it is. The only reason I knew is because actually on that day I was coming out of the gym while it was like still midway happening.
Yeah.
And I saw some worker from the Best Buy nearby just running to the sidewalk near me and just staring. And I was like, you all right? And and then he turns and hands me those glasses. Like, you want to look? And I was like, oh, yeah. So I looked and I was like, so I got to see the shape. But if you could everything was the same. There's no light difference.
It doesn't
for us.
affect, yeah.
But I at least got to see, you know, like the moon shape change with the glasses. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. Thanks. I got the life milestone
You got the
done.
dose, yeah.
Bring on Haley's Comet next. Let's go.
Dude, New York this time was they said online that it was going to be 90% like eclipse. And it was I think it was more than 90%. That shit was crazy.
It was like 91.
Yeah, 90 maybe 2. But you know, cuz I've seen the full eclipse. And this wasn't nearly as cool, but it was fucking dude, the world got darker and everything changed a little bit. And like one of the coolest things with the eclipse is like through trees or through like layers of like obscured thing that creates little holes of light, you can see the shape of the eclipse. Like you can watch like it's a pinhole camera. Like if you look at the shadows from leaves, you can see that like everything get like weird. It's fucking cool.
Yeah, my sister was you know, I called her forgetting it was even, you know, whatever, while it was happening right after that. She was in Texas, so it was like while it was dark. But I don't know why I went to call her, but not even thinking like, duh, you can show me. So she ignored my call, calls back FaceTime, so I could see how it's really, really dark in their area and all the street lights and patio lights and whatnot were on. And then while talking to her, it just literally like it was like literally in a snap. All of a sudden, it was just sun and all the lights went off. And she was like, "Oh,
yeah, dude." So, it like when it goes total, like it's really gradual, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, it's darker, and then all of a sudden it goes like full like sunset, like dusk. Everything like you have like a ring of like orange dusk all the way around in a way that is so unique, dude, that you don't. And then but yeah, it's once it gets total, it snaps, lights off.
Yeah, but also speaking of end of the world, it's perfect. Because look, everyone thought the world was going to end. The reality was this was all Amazon marketing for Fallout, and it was genius. Like to plan an eclipse for Fallout and tell everyone the world's going to end. I thought Marvel, I thought Marvel had their game up, or you know what I mean, like or just I should say Disney, because like Star Wars and whatnot, like it's just genius. You got the whole world to be like, the world is ending, I should watch Fallout. Like, congrats.
Oh,
that's a good
fucking
one.
God. That's such a funny way to say it. You said they planned an eclipse for the.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're talking about Bezos money. Like, what do you think happened? No one knew the eclipse was happening ever. You know what I mean? Like, it just came out of nowhere, clearly. So.
Yeah, dude. They called Neil deGrasse Titan, and they were like, hook it up.
He's the one that's fighting one of the Pauls, right? You're stumbling on like Tyson.
Yes. Neil deGrasse Tyson is fighting Jake Paul in a battle to the death on the solar eclipse.
Yeah, but anyway, dude, they fucking nailed it with Fallout.
I watched the first episode and it looks pretty fucking cool. Like the I'm getting the vibe. I've never played the games before, but I'm getting
I love it. Like Fallout 3 is
Getting the vibe.
in my top 3.
Yo.
Like it's such a good time for me to like nerd out because it's like game shows and movies just suck. That's just like how it is. It's always like the cheesy haha for the fans.
Yeah.
And then like The Last of Us showed us like we'll do a shot for shot retelling basically, but we can do it for all the audiences in a good way. And then I feel like this one just took it another level. Like they just nail the weird like quirks in the comedy, even like the world, and it's just I don't know, it's crazy. And also this is super random, but I mean I went to go order something from Amazon that came this morning, and like even this bag is awesome. Like
Whoa, that is sick.
like
Let's see. Look at the blue. You get full of blue today.
wow, I'm a very blue boy.
Fallout blue boy.
But no, I mean, I can go on about it for hours, but like, I don't know. I just thought it was so cool. Like something that's literally for both audiences. I think part of it's also just a weird bias because it's like I worked on one of the seasons of Westworld, so it's like I know so many of the people in some capacity because there's a lot of the same team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because they
'cause-
move like when you've got the right fucking
Yeah.
Nolan. Jonah
Kilter Films,
Nolan.
Jonah Nolan, Lisa Joy, and then like a lot of the creative people that come along with them for their shows. And
Yeah, because you move with a squad. Like,
Yeah.
you can already feel it on like job when you're in charge of hiring on jobs. You just bring your friends.
yeah, like especially like dude, the production design. Like, I mean, I know a lot of people are involved, but man, shout out to Howard Cummings because that show looks so much like the game in like in a good apocalyptic way, and not like I'm on a stage or green screen. Like it all just even the little things like pick up this like like the detergent bottle and whatnot, like everything that's going on at all times, like the way things look deteriorate. It's like nailed it.
Yeah, dude, I've only seen the first episode, so I only saw when she like she leaves the bunker, and when it shows
The
you're
vault.
like, holy fuck, is
Hey,
that
the vault.
Yeah, the fucking whatever. And she comes out, and you're like, is that the Santa Monica Pier? Is that where she's supposed to be? She's supposed to be in California, right?
I think, yeah. So the show is California, at least this season.
Yeah.
Every game's always been a different place. I think one of them was California for like one of the older ones I never played. I never played the first or second. It's like the common thing is third, New Vegas, 4. That's like what you'll always hear people talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the show's doing heavily a California, and then they're gonna be shooting season 2 primarily here at some point.
Whoa.
I know it's been greenlit, ready to go.
It's already greenlit? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool, man. It's cool to see people doing this sort of stuff right. Like the One Piece live action that came out. I'm a big One Piece fan. I like the anime.
Yeah, I've never seen
and
it.
The live action, if you don't like the show, if you've never seen the show, the live action is not going to do it for you. But they got I feel like they got as close as they can with the main character who's made of rubber. And I don't know. It's cool to see people getting it right.
Yeah, no, I get you because like I'm a huge Last Airbender fan, and I'm like, this Netflix show sucks.
Dude, the lead actor, I saw a little like interview with him, and he seems fucking cool, like that kid.
Yeah.
But the trailer that I watched is so stiff. Like
I feel
it just
bad
seems
for him,
so poorly to.
They're depending a lot on like first time or very novice skill set child actors, which is fair, but they're doing it in a way where it's almost like it feels as if it's like that's why they're relying on cuts of like solo coverage or even shot without someone else, and it's just like the weird reactions like a kid would go like roll their eyes all the time and this and that, and then combine that with like it's like beat for beat the show but feels like it's for kids still in a weird way, which is like it's kind of a bummer that like Nickelodeon clearly has a lot of power because it's like your audience is 30 and 40 year olds.
Yeah. I guess it's because it's so complicated because also casting inexperienced actors is more of a job on the directors,
Yeah.
whoever. And the couple things that I saw in the trailer just seem like the director wasn't even there. Like it feels like these actors are just giving it their first couple shots and then they're moving the fuck on. God, it just is such a shame to see stuff's that stiff. And I guess maybe it's
stiff's
earned
the word. I think that's the word. And it's
because
like, and
that's what that movie was. The movie was terrible. They did all these the movie they did. I watched the trailer again, but the trailer shows this one long take of a fight scene where you literally see people standing still so that like to make it I feel like more doable for the VFX team. It moves so slow. It's one take and it pulls you right out of the fucking world.
Yeah.
It's such a slow fight.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It just bums me, and I know the creators for Last Airbender stepped away from the Netflix show at some point, and I'm like I feel like I low key understand why.
Yeah, and when you see people hitting the nail in the head, like with Last of Us and with Fallout, it just Airbender. I feel like that IP's got one more run at a live action thing in like 5-6 years. I feel like someone's gonna try it again.
It doesn't need to be
hopefully they
dark,
get it right.
but it has to have a darkness to it. It's like you got to be realistic here. Like yes, he's
It
a
can't
kid,
be
but
clean.
it's. I mean, it's supposed to be like an imperialistic takeover of the world happening, right? And then here comes someone to save you, and it's like, well, just because the savior is a kid doesn't mean that it's all like kiddie.
Yeah, in reality, the story being told in that show is dark and scary. Like the stakes are death. The stakes are world domination. The stakes are fucking real and high. The main characters have lost all three of them lost a lot of the people they love because of the enemies in that show.
Yeah,
so like,
I don't know. And the
to
show just
gloss over
depends. It depends too much on like saving itself with basically Transformers like CGI scenes. It's just like it's almost like blinding and up close, and you can't entirely tell what's happening, but you're like fire, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I hope this
someone will get it right.
Yeah, I hope this just leads to a lot more well-adapted IPs. Like, man, I've wanted a BioShock one for so long. Like I'm not a writer for shit, but it's like you should see the amount of files I have for show Bible and scripts where I've tried my own versions. I just want it one day, and I'm like, it just makes me feel better, even though I'm like, I'm probably never gonna be able to give this to anyone. Not like it would matter if I did, but
yeah, I played the third one that was in the that more air, like the above ground world. That
Infinite.
kind of felt because that came out when we were in college. I didn't play I might have played some of the second one. I never played the first, but that world, the first and second world where it's like so underground and so wet and dirty and spooky, dude, that would work.
Yeah,
that's the voice of it. That's the voice of fucking like horror movies nowadays. So
I mean, yeah,
that would be a good
that's
one.
why like I have this whole idea in my head that's same kind of thing of like, let's not necessarily follow a character, but have it in the world, kind of combining the lore of the different places. But it's like it has to have that weird feel, because it's weird because it's like the first BioShock game's like someone in like 06 or something revisiting an area that basically like went to shit in like 1950s, but it almost has that like even sooner look because it's like Art Deco, you know?
Yeah,
which I just think is so cool. Like that the Art Deco style alone is like oddly terrifying.
Yeah, no, it's so because the darks and lights are so the contrast is so high. Things could be right in front of you and you don't see it.
Yeah, just man. One day.
One day.
Oh man. But all right. What do you think? Should we switch on to the next thing?
Yeah, are we ready for Connie? Or what's next?
No, Connie's next. Yeah. Yeah. So let's I think let's take a little break and then we'll be back with Connie's corner.
Connie, how you doing? How was your week, big guy?
Ooga chaka, ooga chaka. Very good, man. How about you guys? All good? Doing well? It's a beautiful day out. I don't know. I know you guys aren't golf guys, but the Masters, it's a pretty beautiful thing to just look at in terms of appreciating the earth and what we're able to manipulate it to our will.
You know what also is pretty wonderful to behold is Tiger Woods has gotten kind of fucking ripped. Your
Oh, dude,
boy's
he's
got some
jacked.
traps to him now. He's
He's
got some
yoked.
shoulders.
But he's also
He's
just like it's also the injuries and age are kind of catching up to a degree, right? I see him constantly doing like the rubbing and like the ice and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why he got in shape, is because his body's like yelling at him. That's why I'm eating better now, as my body started yelling at me.
All right, so let's get into it. You had us watch Cheech and Chong's next movie.
Next movie. It's
Not the
tremendous.
first
Next
movie.
movie.
I mean, I just love even the title off of it. When did this? I don't even look up when it came out. I should have.
I think 1980.
Okay. All right. You would guess a little bit earlier, maybe even. But yeah, that makes sense. 1980 definitely birthed the whole genre, and there's not very many good ones. You have Cheech and Chong,
And Harold and
Yeah.
Kumar.
Harold and Kumar, and then I would throw Jay and Silent Bob in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that I like that you say that because I was thinking about asking you guys about like the stoner buddy duos.
Mhm.
And I was like, does Pineapple Express go in there? But I'm like, that's a standalone. In my head, I'm like, that doesn't really. That's just its whatever thing. But saying Jay and
There's
Silent
more
Bob,
to
I'm
it.
like, that would sum up. So then you have like 80s, 90s, 2000s.
Yes, you're instead of buddy cop, you're buddy stoner movie.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
Yeah,
But this
there's got to be
one's-
more that we're not thinking of, but
There's what?
But these are the big ones. These are the big ones. Like Cheech and
Yeah,
Chong
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
started that shit.
And it's pretty clear too, like with this movie, because it's like, well, each one, I guess, if we're speaking of all the different duos, right? Like each one's reflective of its literal time period. But this is the
Yeah.
one that's literally just like, we're stoners. You know what I mean? Where the other ones are just like, let's see how they get into it now with whatever and their phones or White Castle. But it's like these guys are literally just like, you think stoners live in squalor, we live in squalor, and like,
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, like
got-
these are our value. We can't get it together. Like we're just doing it. We're running around doing this shit. So Connie, I have a confession to make.
Yes.
uh-oh.
I didn't watch it.
I didn't watch this one. I did on Monday watch Up in Smoke, which is the one
Okay.
before this.
All right,
I did
cool.
not-
No,
cool.
no,
that'll
no.
work. That'll work.
It works for the buddy part, but shame.
Hey, we
No, we
watched-
shame him.
I am gonna. But he admitted to it. You could easily be like, "Yo, I watched it. Remember when they like smoked weed? Like it was so funny."
Yeah, but you're not gonna be like, but that's like being like, hey man, I wrote this note because I hit your car, but I gotta go anyway.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm out. Like, don't. Here's not my
Yeah.
number.
No name, no phone number, no nothing.
No, let's
Just
take pause for a second. I feel like there should be we should have like a rule or something. Like if someone decides the moment of the stream to say that they didn't watch it, then like I don't know, Connie, you gotta throw a punishment their way or something.
You got to put $1 in the swear jar. Okay.
Oh my
Put
god.
$1 in the swear jar, and
Where's the
we'll
swear jar?
we'll
I'm not
donate
putting
it to
money
our
towards
favorite
this.
charity.
I'll do something. I'll
Okay.
I'll do an action. What?
Alright.
All right. So okay.
You
I
ha-
think this is fair. This is silly, but I
No,
think
it's definitely
fair.
fair.
Yeah.
We're about to
This is-
sal the shit out of you.
25 push-ups. And you could do it
Right
over the
now?
week. Spread it out whenever
No,
you
no,
get
no,
a
no. I
time,
think
do
I think
3
this
here,
is
2 there.
no. I think what he needs to be humiliated, and that's got to
12
happen to
our
one
followers.
of us. So he's either you decide here, Connie. Does he got to do something on the stream next time, or is it something like he's got to post up on our socials? Like you got to embarrass yourself.
You want me to go like Times Square and do some shit or something?
Do some push up. I'm
Yeah,
not even
go
gonna
to-
say the thought I just had.
You got to go to Times Square and have a 3-course meal at the Olive Garden, Times Square.
I'm not spending $100 at an Olive
No,
Garden.
let's.
Yeah.
This is his first punishment. We'll spare him some money. On like the 5th one, it might be like you're taking us all somewhere, but. I think we'll start. No, let's be realistic. Let's say he's got to go somewhere in New York and film himself do something. Throw it at him, Connie.
Bro,
Practical Joker style.
You got to go get a bacon, egg, and cheese from the worst Dunkin' Donuts in your area, and you got to eat the whole thing and enjoy it.
Okay, sounds good.
That's so
Alright,
simple. I almost would rather see you do the stupid Jennifer Lopez thing. Like have like Amy film you being like, I want an orange drink.
order the fucking Jennifer Lopez order, the ham sandwich.
Yeah.
You're like,
getting
can I
angry.
have a Cobb salad the Aki way? I'll take a Waldorf the Aki way.
Yeah, but no,
If
It's
you
like the
don't-
realistic.
Brooklyn special.
If
Could
you
you give
don't
me the
mind, go ahead.
Crown
No,
Heights
yeah.
delight?
All right. No, realistically, before we jump back into the movie, like, what's something that's like a first time good punishment he can do? We're trying to do it in a not spend money way.
Oh, I'm not in a I'm not about punishment. I'm about, I'm sex positive. Like, you know what I mean? I want to encourage, but all right, do you have a pair of rollerblades by any chance?
I do.
All right, yeah, you gotta rollerblade across the Brooklyn Bridge, and you're gonna print out 5 real dope flyers. And you're gonna hand them out. Just 5.
I'm all for it.
Just
Because
5.
Okay.
I would say it's
Okay.
too much, but it's good physical activity. We're looking out for your health, so I'm
You
for
don't
it.
have to, yeah, exactly. You don't have to be super, conspicuous about it. Just dress normally. Quick rollerblade and be like, "Yo, just give somebody a flyer and say, hey, you throw this out." You know. I
All right,
heard that.
I'm all
somewhere.
for it. There's no
Okay.
rules
Yeah.
for how you make it look, but I
And
want
just
to
keep
see
it
you.
moving. You know.
I want to see you commit to it, and I'll throw it up on our socials, and we'll talk about it
All
next
right.
time.
All right, I'll figure it out. I'll do that. So going over a bridge on roller skates, and I gotta hand out flyers. I'm ready.
Quick 5.
I'll do it.
Yeah. Vote for
I got
just
5. I can do
just pass out and go. Vote for Pedro.
5. We gotta make some flyers first.
I'll make
Oh,
a
man.
flyer.
Or stickers. I would say stickers too. People love them shits.
That's
Well-
not gonna happen in 5 days.
I'm
When-
saying versus flyers, like stickers are a cool thing.
Oh yeah, no, but
Yeah.
I
No,
can
no.
print the
I need you to go to the nearest Kinko's right now.
I got a fucking there's a killer FedEx print shop in
Okay.
Downtown Brooklyn, baby. Love
Yeah.
it there.
You thought,
When-
you thought you were just advertising or just doing a punishment, but the reality is this was the plan to get you to start doing our marketing team.
I'm the pretty one, so I guess.
He's street team.
Yeah. But all right, let's jump back into the movie.
I liked a lot about it. There's a lot of great style going on. I feel like Cheech delivers a really, really great performance. Like, legitimately, Cheech is just like a good actor in this movie.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, the main thing is that Cheech is half the time like playing his cousin, his own cousin.
Yeah.
who's This, Western badass who grows a bunch of weed. Like, that's kind of the plot, basically. That's
Yeah.
So he's the man in both of them, and I was impressed with Chong as well. That was the main
Yeah.
thing.
He's the director too.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just felt the main thing that really stood out to me was that like both Cheech and Chong deliver like really good like performances. Like, they're good actors.
Yeah. It's funny because like if you look at it as just a movie, I even had the bad mindset going in. So I'm like, this movie is all right, but part of that's because of like the timing. We were young for Harold and Kumar, etc. But
Yeah.
and I always knew there's two things here. So one, from the movie standpoint, I'm like, oh, there's a lot of references I've just known forever and never knew why. I'm like, oh, it's this movie. It's like, whether it's jokes or just the stereotypical like stoner, or even the like, hey man, like it's like all that's from here. And
Hey,
okay.
Bandeco.
Yeah. And then
Hey man.
but I do appreciate it for the things you were just saying, Connie, where it's like, yeah, like I was trying to suck myself into it more. I was like, oh, if I start looking at it as like the way it feels like, I'm like, oh, they put this together. Literally, these two people pulled this off in 1980, or even sooner and after, as like the duo.
Yeah.
Where it's like they had a vision, and here's how we're gonna tell it with the movie. Like, this is what everyone's doing. Like, it's supposed to be overplayed here, underplayed here.
Yeah. Mhm.
And each scene is interestingly designed in a way that it's going to sound almost insulting to them, but it's almost like a smart SNL skit, where it's just kind of like
Bro,
the punchlines coming at the end of this overly physical thing, really, but it's like each scene is set up like that.
100%. 100%. I feel like a lot of it is set up almost to look like live sketches in a way.
Mhm.
And they have a lot of great little cameos in there, but one of the best things in the very beginning, that like movie set that he barrels into,
Yeah.
Wamba, like there's all these guys in the background like smoking cigars, wearing suits, like do it like this, do it like that, like, and there's like 5 different people yelling action and cut, and it's just like a mess, bro. I feel like that would be, especially for you guys, a scene that they really captured something of like the time period of
Right,
like
yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that's how notes were being delivered to some degree back then. Of just like it's a Western free for all, you know what I mean?
do it like this, do it like that.
Yeah, like
It's
Ian, it's
just
literally
chaos.
like the like just panel of men and women just like basically like we're business, just like screaming at the people, the actors on camera in a movie scene at like Paramount or whatever.
And even if that's like nothing like what it was, it's such a funny distillation of what the experience is of being on
Yeah.
set when you don't know what you're looking at. And it's like the perspective of a stranger who's really fucking high that walked on set and is like, what is going on?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Yeah.
the entire world's through their perspective. And you get that in the Up in Smoke. Like Up in Smoke is it's such a good movie. Like,
Yeah.
and I'd be surprised if the second one wasn't as good because the first one just seems so fucking effortless. It just flows, and these guys do nothing, and they just go places, have slightly different adventures, but they like their relationship progresses and grows, and it's fucking cool. You see them like care about each other and shit. It's so
Yeah.
good, and it's funny how I feel like those types of movies have just gotten simpler and simpler. Like I don't know much about the White Castle one, but that seems like I don't know. I think I like this more from what I remember.
This one seems to be more like free for all in the sense of like White Castle's very, I mean, I don't know what the other Cheech and Chongs are like, but White Castle's very plot driven. It's always like
Yeah.
new chaos ensues like a side quest each scene, but it's
They're on the way to
pivoting
go.
you forward. Whereas like Cheech and Chong is, at least this movie kind of is just like they're just doing it. Like this is it. This is the movie.
Yeah. They're
Yeah,
just
my
looking for
cousin,
weed.
just go party with him. Just go party with
Yeah,
him.
Ian. There's
Yeah.
a
Amen.
literally Chong's or Cheech is trying to get rid of Chong for a little bit from the house to basically be like, here, go hang out with my cousin who just came in, who's Cheech and in a wig, like Connor was saying, who's having issues at a hotel. And when you are introduced to him, so first it's that reveal, of course, of like, oh, it's him, but it's not him, you know. But then the guy he's arguing with, like the hotel manager at the desk, is Pee Wee Herman.
Yes.
And it's
Pee-wee
just
Herman
like
has
great.
a
it's like a
fantastic-
20-something-year-old, like he's still it. So I had to look it up. So this movie's 1980. Apparently, Pee Wee Herman started becoming a name when it's like shows around LA 1977. So it's like I don't know. I would love to know from someone like how big did he get fast? Because I think the Pee Wee Herman show came like 83 or 84 because the Tim Burton movie is 85. So it's like this is like right when people are like aware of this guy, and he's just being this young guy just like screaming and cursing and doing like actually good acting in
Yeah.
this movie. But there's also subtle little Pee-wee moments. Like they like zoom in on like him as he's like leaning forward and he's like, I know you are, but what am I? And I'm like, yeah, that's Pee-wee's line. Like,
I know you are, but what am I?
yeah.
Pee-wee crushed it, definitely.
All right, yeah. But
Now I gotta watch this shit. I'm definitely gonna watch this one now. I really like the first. I like put it on to go to sleep. I put on Up in Smoke like while I was in bed, and I ended
Yeah.
up staying up to watch it
Nice.
like on my phone.
I think we can just ramble for hours about the Fun Buddy movie. So I feel like
For sure.
I think we'll move on for timing's sake, but we'll revisit it. I feel like the buddy theme is a good one. We'll probably revisit with movies. It's a solid movie, but I would probably just put it at like a 6 on my end, just because it's like not really just because I can't relate to it the same way.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
like if I was born then, I'd probably be like 10, but it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For 2 reasons, like it definitely Cheech and Chong holds. I'm like, it's in a high place for me always. I'm just because I think it's emblematic, and also those movies are like dead and gone, so it's kind of cool to look back and watch this and be like, no, that was actually good. Like it wasn't stupid as hell. It was actually a pretty like fun movie. So I'd put it probably somewhere around like an 8.8, like something like
I
that.
get it.
So it's
Oh,
kind of
nice.
like,
Okay, interesting.
my unique kind of
Yeah.
like every time look at it totally different. Like, so I'd probably go
Yeah.
with something around there.
Let me just clarify real quick. Like I say like a 6 out of 10, but I'm probably in the category of most people where it's like a 6 means high for these
Hi.
type of movies.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? I'm not
Yeah.
trying to say don't watch it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think past 5 is like
You
I'd
did
put
it.
this on at the drop of a hat. Like
Yes.
anything above
Mhm.
5 for a movie like this is like I
Yeah.
would watch this one for you want.
Yeah. But I do love that you were saying like, you know, these type of movies, because it's like, yeah, this movie is only an hour and a half, and like sometimes you just miss that old weird feel. And
Yeah.
it's funny that
So
you
fun.
picked this one when they announced that Scary Movie's coming back. So it's like, yeah, someone out there's thinking like that too. Like it's time to just have those like silly
Yeah.
whatever, like we're having fun, we'll never watch it again. Like
Hour and a half, just like it's just like a stupid movie. Like you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
fun. You know.
Yeah, with the movement in cinema of like going like getting even better at showing real life, and like dramas and quiet movies are getting so much better and so much richer and darker and deeper. And it would make sense that like we'd need a polar opposite again, because like the only other opposite of like these heavy movies is like big action movies, and those just don't
Yes.
have the same comfort level that a movie about two guys stumbling around in the world being idiots
Yeah.
has, especially one that's made really well with a lot of care.
yeah.
And just when you said that, Ian, like I don't know why, because I've actually never seen any of these movies to be honest, but I do think probably with Harold and Kumar, Cheech and Chong, Jay and Silent Bob, you would probably add Bill and Ted to that.
Yeah.
I don't know if they
Oh
were.
yeah, I've never seen those either.
I don't know if they were like stoner movies. I don't really know.
But they're
There's, like,
clearly
yeah,
I've never
stoners.
seen them, so
But there's a sort of a cross between that and Back to the Future, where they like are doing, they're moving through time, and I think like
It's all
what
the 80s
sets
like themes, you know?
what sets I guess it's you stumble into weird environments, but it's like the scale at which things are weird. Like the buy-in is much higher on like
okay. Yeah.
yeah, but and Bill
A
and
little
Ted, but
more
like on
going
this
on.
one yeah, it's its own world. In Cheech and Chong, it's like they're in LA. That's
Yeah.
fucking
Yep.
LA. It's
Gotcha.
what LA felt like then.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
I like it.
if that's Cheech and Chong, what do you got for us next week?
All right, so we talked a little bit about some dramatic irony last week, and what is better than that than Spies? I know Ian's watched some The Americans, and I think the reason why I like it so much is because it scratches that like spy itch that you don't really get. There should be way more stuff on that, not just like in a James Bond way, but in a espionage way. So I've never seen this. It's called Breach, 2007.
Okay.
It's about this like really deep seated, I guess,
Bruce
spy
Willis.
in the FBI. I
Breach.
guess during the Cold War. So it sounds like a banger to me. It's got a 3.4 on Letterboxd. Pretty standard espionage thriller. Let's
Hell
give it a
yeah.
go.
I love this. Jumping
2007's
into like an
Breach. Yeah.
action, more of an
Let's do
action
it.
film. I gotta tell you, I was in a short film called Breach, and I cried in it. It was pretty good. Movie was not very good, but I did great.
Okay, all right. Is there anywhere I might be able to see that? DM me, bro.
I'll see
If I
if I
can
can find it.
get a link.
All right. Well, thanks, Connie, as always.
Hey, thank you very much, boys. Are you gonna kick me out or what?
Have you learned it? Do you know the moves?
I don't know. Do you?
I
I
think
mean,
I
do you
do.
have anything that you want to say before you go?
Oh,
Cool. Well, thank you for coming on. So I don't know if you caught the beginning, but I was saying earlier. So I met Vanessa very recently on set,
Yeah.
and then what made me want to bring you on is because we didn't have a whole lot of time to talk, and I remember you were telling me a lot about your different experiences in history, and then we had to kind of run and do things. And I remember
Yeah.
texting you, being like, "You didn't get to finish your story," and you were like, "Next time we meet up." So here we are.
Here we are. I mean, yeah. Yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
That was a crazy day too.
Oh yeah. But you have a lot of different levels of experience, I guess. So I guess right now, I guess it would be safe to say you're mostly PAing, right?
That's what I'm doing right now. I've been doing that for 3 years, and once I got into PAing, I I've just been doing it hard, like show to show to show. The strike was like my first real break, and then here I am back at it again.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
and you're still trying to do the non-training path to AD, right?
Yeah, the non-trainee path for sure.
Yeah.
Just
So,
Amen.
yeah,
What
what
does
does
that
that
look like?
entail? Yeah, like for anyone who's not familiar with what we do, what does that mean? What's the path?
I mean, it's the 600 LA days and then the 400 out of state days, and I'm currently at like 400 and like almost 80 LA days out of the
Okay.
600.
All
Yeah.
right. Yeah, Ian, did you know about that? Yeah, like
No, I don't know shit about union
yeah,
stuff. That
like
blows my mind. I
if you're not doing the training program from New York or LA, it involves basically leaving your home and doing third area days so you can come back to work in your home. The system makes no sense.
It makes no sense at all. It's the craziest thing. But I'm also born and raised in LA, so to do the third area, it's like, okay, I'm leaving home, going somewhere else, and then I'll come back.
Yeah. See
and
that? Yeah,
how
go ahead.
how much of that is in your control? Like, I do travel jobs sometimes, but I have no idea. Like, the only time I've ever done them is when they just are randomly offered to me. It's not like I have a say in when they come.
I mean, neither do we.
Is it the same thing? It's
Yeah,
the same thing. You just gotta get lucky. That's so
Yeah.
crazy.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's
because I guess, is there any explanation for why you need the out of LA days? Is it just so that you can operate in different sets of like logistical circumstances and things, or
have no idea. I don't know
Yeah.
why they make us leave and then only to come back. It makes
Yeah.
no
It's
sense.
it's kind
Very
of crazy because someone from the DGA is gonna claim if they ever saw this clip to like explain it that they can, but
I would
every
love that.
like annual meeting for the DGA, it's always the same type of shit too, where it's like someone always brings up, "Hey, can we at least figure out a way like third area can do base camp here?" And then they just ignore it, and then it never comes up for the contract. And like, here's the email, and it's just like it's like people are trying to say it doesn't make sense, and you're
So,
taking away people who can work. It makes no sense.
like
so
no sense.
Vanessa, how are you gonna approach that? Like, do you have a plan or like an idea of how you want to deal with that? Is that like straight up moving like to New Orleans or another union place? Like,
Y- Yeah, essentially, yeah. Like I've met some ADs who have come out to California and they work out of Georgia or Chicago and stuff like that. So I have made those connections where once I get a little closer, I can be like, "Hey, where should I go work?" essentially. Like who's popping? Where's the work at? What's going to be best for me? Like, how do I go about it? And I'm also in a position where, like, I'm not married, I don't have kids, I don't have a dog, and I live at home. So I can just pack up and go.
Yeah.
yeah, so are you gonna try to dip like when you get your 600 LA days so that you just have the most experience, you have more like talking power and like, and are you gonna be PAing? Like, is it you just have to put in that many days on union sets? Does it matter your position?
It's just PAing, so it doesn't matter like what I'm PAing. You can, um, as long as your call sheets and your pay stubs match and add up to 600, you turn in your
Yeah.
buck, and yeah.
And does it have to be union days or is it anything?
Pretty sure it's union days, and that's all I've worked. So I don't know. I'm not too familiar with like not. I know.
Nice,
I'm
nice.
not.
Conven no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
I was saying that's convenient. You've got it. You're going.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
even know if I
Nice.
have 480 days on set.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I guess so. What's drawing you to ADing specifically? I guess that's the most direct. That makes the most sense if you're on set, PAing, managing people, going places. It does. I mean, now that I'm putting 2 seconds of thought to it, ADing is the most relatable set of skills.
Definitely is. And as I was telling George when we had first met, I started out as an actor. I did auditions. I did the pilot seasons. I worked on a bunch of commercials as an actor. Um, and I did that for many, many years. And then I was like, I don't love this. This isn't what I love. Got a real job. and then came back as a stand-in because I was like, I want to be on set. I'm already SAG. How do I, what position, what department do I want to essentially be in? How do I make connections? And then I saw that ADs just sort of like, it was already the same skill set of like, all right, you have the time management, you're doing all of these things. I know how actors work. I'm familiar with how crew works. How would I best fit in this environment? And
Mhm.
the AD department was it.
Nice. Can we circle back for just a second then, or you? How
Well,
did that come to be? Because I guess you said you kind of grew up, born and raised around this. So like, how did it become a thing you knew existed around you to something you're gonna be in, and then how did acting start?
So I was scouted as a child at like 12 years old, um, by like an agent, and was like, hey, like, would you be interested in being an actor type of thing? You grab your parents and you're like, this lady's stranger danger, you know? And then my parents were like, talk to this lady. And then from there, I ended up going to this acting school called the Gary Spatz School of Acting. And it's right behind the Century City Mall.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, like right CAA and all of that. And so ended up signing up for acting school there. I would go there every weekend for like 2 years. So the 2 years of junior high, I was going there every Saturday and then spending the rest of my afternoon at the Century City Mall.
Mhm.
um, and then we'd go back to school during the week and all of that. And at the end of it, you do a showcase for agents, managers, and all of the people. And from there, I ended up getting an agent who represented me for commercials, like shows, movies, um, plays. Like she was just across the board agent. And then you sign up with like LA Casting. You have all of these different logins and stuff where your agent is like calling you and just like, all right, log in, look at your sides. You're gonna go audition at this place this time, and I would do it like multiple times a week, just like drive from Santa Clarita to whatever audition, like 3 times a week after
Mm.
school. I get pulled out in the middle of school and all of that, and that was like the beginning of how I got into being on set and just like learning all about it at such a young age, and then just did that until I was like 22.
Nice.
Yeah.
full on pipeline type shit, like get in the machine, like become a cog, like let's go be in movies, baby. How did you, was it fun for a long time, or like did it turn immediately into work?
Fun for such a long time. It really was. Like, I mean, as someone who grew up performing like with my aunts and cousins and stuff like that, like we would put on little dance shows for our family and all of that. It was very natural to like want to be a performer, and I was like, oh, of course, I want to be an actor. You know, like this is like, oh my god, like dream come true type of stuff. And then like going to the auditions was fun, and I think it became more work the older I got. Like when I hit that like 18, 19, 20, that's when it really did feel like work, because before that it had been so fun. And then what made it feel like work was just like so much rejection. Like I was like, okay, I'm 18, so I'm 18 to look younger, but I'm not booking the 18 to look younger roles. And I was like, this isn't how it was supposed to go. And then it was just like, it felt like work when I had a manager too, and they were just like, well, are you submitting yourself? And I'm like, that's what I pay you guys for. I pay you guys to submit me. I pay my agent, I pay my manager to submit me so that I can get this work. And they were just like very on me of like, looking back, I'm like, yeah, probably should have submitted myself some more, but, and then it probably would have helped, but I don't,
Yeah.
it didn't,
I don't,
yeah, it just felt like work.
yeah, because that's the part I want to be I have a little dream too. I want to be in front of the camera. But what's kept me so long away from it is the idea of working for free just to get considered. Like the idea of showing up to the audition and like learning, spending the hours learning the lines, and then like all the uncertainty and being sort of cattled through these things, and just it just feels like, even on my end, so I produce, and so I do like, and I produce small things, so I do a lot of casting on my own, less so now, but just reviewing people's like just on backstage, like a lot. It got to where I would, instead of making a posting, I would just scroll. I would like type in the description and I would just scroll, and I would message people. Ooh, and I would just message people directly on backstage, based on what they had on their page. And it got and just even that process of just judging people, so many fucking people back to back to back to back to back. And I got to where I could look at their headshot and tell if I even needed to look at their footage. And and then I getting it to a more professional level. I I don't know, just seeing it from that side and then imagining myself being reviewed like that just bothered the shit out of me. So I could imagine that being in the bowels of it for so long, and then it slightly changes. Cause like in high school and stuff, I'm sure it was like something extra you were doing. Like most of your day was school, it was with your friends. And then you leave high school and this is the only thing you're doing, and it's supposed to be work, and you've got nothing else to fill your time, nothing to distract you. You're just waiting
Yeah.
for this shit.
Yeah.
You're
Can
going
wait.
places to wait more.
Can you elaborate on what he just said? Because that is what I wanted to ask next, kind of just the whole child experience. Because it's both sides. Because child acting is like a huge theme right now, but I mean not just for the safety part is important, but you know what I mean. There's the lifestyle is what I'm curious about.
With that, it's like you you go to school every day, you have your homework at the end of the day, but added to it, your extracurricular activity instead of a sport is reading your sides for your audition that you have the next day. Like you get home from school and you're like, oh, I have to check my LA casting and all this, see what, check my email, see what my agent sent me, if I have anything for tomorrow or whatnot, or if I have it in 2 days. And then you learn your sides. And then added to that, like a lot of the time you have an acting class. Once I graduated from Gary Spatz's acting school, I ended up doing other acting classes like that my manager and agents had referred me to. So then they were like, okay, yeah, like take a commercial class, take a theatrical class, and then you'll better your skills, which is crazy because it's like, yeah, you're doing all of this free work, but you're also putting this time and energy into perfecting a craft, because commercial acting is very like, oh, I'm so happy, like I love this product, buy this product, versus I'm doing this show where this character has real emotions and going through different things.
Hmm.
So then you're like, how do I hone in on different emotions to do this character versus just like being happy all the time and selling a product.
Yeah.
So then you're just like, you have your friends, but then on the weekends, you're like, oh, I need to make sure my commercial outfits or my audition outfits are set for the week and stuff like that. If I know I have stuff coming up, or like, oh, I have this class after school on a Wednesday night, and then I still have to go to school on Thursday morning. So it's
Yeah.
crazy. It is crazy, and you're
I
just
got to
like,
put on
oh,
this performance, but math test is at 8 a.m. tomorrow.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. I have to put on this performance, and then I have to give a speech in my class at noon the next day
Yeah.
and stuff. So then you're like, fucking A.
I can only
And
imagine
then,
it's just overwhelming, right? Like, and I don't even mean that you can't handle it. It's a lot for a kid.
yeah, yeah. Because it's like, you're not just like, oh, I'm going to soccer practice, or I have like ballet or whatever. And it's like, you're also doing those things too,
Yeah.
because as an actor, it's like you have to have a wide set of skills. It's like, oh, you want a ballerina? Well, I took ballet for this many years. Oh, you want this? Oh, I know how to do this. Oh, you want a horseback rider? You want somebody who knows how to ice skate? You want like all of these things. So then it's like,
Yeah. So that's interesting because it's like
yeah.
we were you finding yourself doing hobbies because they might correlate with work, or do you have some that were just for you too?
started out like every hobby that I have done started out for me, and then I would end up perfecting it for work because I'm like,
Okay.
oh, if I get really good at this, I can
It's on the
I can
resume.
audition. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
on my resume. Yeah. And then once you graduate high school, all of your time is just, this hobby. How do I perfect this thing? How do I how do I better get a better grasp on these emotions because I'm really good at this. And now I can just like cry. I can fake cry. I can fake cry and
You're like,
just
let me clarify. I could just cry.
yeah, I can just cry. um
Wait, so you could just make tears come out of your eyes? Do you like is that like a physical thing or is it an emotional place that you get to? Because I could like I'm sure it's a combination of both, but like the physical making your eyes get wet has got seems like more of a trick than it is like wait, I want to know more.
it yeah, because it starts out as like, oh, like you get to that emotional place and you're like, okay, this is what's gonna get me here. And then now it's just like I just start like and then it'll
Like a breath. It's like a breath
yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So it's
Dude,
like
that's sick.
it's
I can't
crazy.
even imagine. Like, cause like I've tried sometimes, you know, like in my head, I've thought about like if I thought about like this moment that brought me down. Like when you're in a bad moment, I'll think to myself as a non-actor, like, I wonder if I thought
Mhm.
about this again on would it just happen, or you learn life lesson, but it's like, but you have to go to a whole different. You have to just have a whole different outlook to get there.
Yeah, because as an actor, you're like writing that line between like truth and make believe, and you're like, I need to put them so close together that this line that I've created is a part of this character.
Yeah.
and and then you just gotta bring it. It's crazy.
So, what were some of the hobbies that like and I'm sure it's just like fucking soccer and horseback riding, but like are there
Literally.
is there
Yeah.
anything that you really love that you like or is there anything that you stuck with for the sole sake of being able to do it?
um I am now a big paddleboarder. I paddleboard every summer. I am so good at it. Yeah. I just like go to the Newport Dunes and just
Okay.
spend a day paddleboarding, and it's so fun and it's so relaxing like that. And then just like yoga, Pilates, stuff like that, just the mindful ones.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, because paddleboarding
Yeah.
is one of those things where like every time I've tried paddleboarding, one, I like finally get to where I can stand up, and then I'm like, I want to go faster, and I can't, and it makes me anxious. I gotta
Yeah.
just confess to you that I want to go faster. What is so how like when you paddleboard, are you like traveling distance or are you just doing circles?
Just well, at Newport Dunes, you can just like do a circle, but then you can like sort of go close to the ocean. So I'll test myself and I'll go a little further each time closer to the ocean. So I won't actually be in the ocean paddleboarding because I'm like, I don't want to get eaten by a shark on accident or anything
By
like that.
accident. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, by accident. I'm like, I'm gonna stay close to where I can still be saved easily if anything were to happen.
Good call.
But yeah, so I'm like, I try and stay more in the harbor and marina and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Was
But
there were there any hobbies or requests that you just knew right away? You're like, yeah, this one's not for me.
one time I had like an audition where it was like, oh, do you know archery? And I was like, no, no, I can't even. I don't even think I could fake holding a bow and arrow. Like
Yeah. Have you tried
I
since that moment?
no, I
When is that gonna come up? Like, I feel like it's more common that you'd know how to throw a fucking axe than like shoot a bow and arrow. Like shooting a bow and arrow is like Boy Scout shit.
Yeah. Or Renaissance fairs.
yeah,
Oh,
and I'm
Ren
like,
Fair.
Yeah.
not for me. You can't do that. So sorry. I'm like, you need somebody who can ice skate. I know how to do that.
Yeah.
I
Oh
can
man. They're like,
that.
okay, They're like, well, the role was for a Katniss Everdeen, but
We can rewrite it to Maria Sharapova. Maria
Yeah.
Sharapova's tennis. Um,
yeah, you just.
so do you, I guess, so what's funny is that when you talk about acting, like it sounds like when I think of acting, I don't think of the process of getting the jobs, but like that's so much of it. Would you still like, do you ever get hit up for random roles with like friends or anything? Like, do you ever act like in passion projects or anything? Or you just kind of like it sounds like you've been busy as fuck. It doesn't sound like you've
So
had much time to do anything else.
haven't, and I have been hit up by friends to do passion projects and like to be an actor, and I'm like, I would love to do that, but I'm currently PAing and getting my days, and I'm like, I can't because I'm on this road now. I'm not on that road. I'm not on that path anymore.
What
You
you said 12 years old is kind of when the acting thing started, right? So how old were you when you started to basically like accept on your own terms, like I'm not really going to do this as much. This is the route now.
That it's really like at 22 when I was like, I don't want to be an actor. It was time to renew my contracts with like a new agent and manager
Mhm.
and stuff at that time. And I was like, I don't want to. And then they were like, good, because we don't want to renew it either. And I was like, good, because I know I
oh,
haven't been going to my auditions. It was like,
Yeah.
it was just like
you were
such a
already on
point.
your way out.
Yeah.
If
Uh,
um if anyone ever wanted to see the work from that time period, you got anything that stands out that you're proud of? You're just like, go find it.
I tell people it, but I do have like I guess my favorite commercial I ever did was the one for Disneyland Parks, like 12 years ago now. Yeah, I think that was like in 2011, 2012.
Okay.
Um, and it's the Disney Parks, and it has, oh my gosh, see the commercial playing in my mind right now. And it's
Yeah.
the good.
You're reliving it.
Yeah, yeah. It's oh my gosh, what's the name of that band? But it's that song Good Life.
Good life.
I think so.
I don't know.
I don't even know anymore. Um,
Like, are you talking about like Kanye? You're not, are you?
no, One Republic. I think it was One Republic.
Oh, like,
Dude, we gotta
oh, this
check
is
that.
gonna be a good life. That one.
That one. So it's a Disney
Okay.
commercial, that song, and that was the best week ever. Got to skip school, be at Disneyland, and just have fun.
Ooh,
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think I just found the
Disneyland
commercial,
Workday
but
sounds
I'll
great.
save that for myself. I won't throw it up right now.
Okay. Um,
Um, you, I just want to comment on your like mentality and approach to things. You seem like a very all in person. Because when I think like, sorry to bring myself into it again, I've been so scattershot. Like I haven't been able to sort of keep my mind and effort on one thing. But hearing you say like, no, I'm not gonna act with my friends because I am. I don't know. It's fucking cool and refreshing to hear you say like it seems like you have a purpose for every day, and like every day that you're on set you're like working directly towards being an AD, and that's such a cool. I'm like trying to bring more of that into my life, and hearing you talk like that is really really, I don't know, kind of inspiring. uh that like you're able to keep
Aw.
this like one thing, and it's like so tangible, and I feel like maybe it comes from you starting acting so young, but it just, maybe you proved it to yourself or maybe you saw it in your parents, but like you have this mentality of like, if I put in the time and effort I will get what I want, and it seems like you're viewing that as the light at the end of the tunnel or the top rung on the ladder, and then there's another ladder waiting for you or another tunnel waiting for you.
that's exactly. I feel like I just am a very goal oriented person. So I'm like, oh, okay, like I accomplished this. What's the next goal? What's the next goal? What's the next goal? So it's just like, all right, I know what I'm working towards. And then it's like, at the end of the day, there's like, this is the main goal. How do I get here? How do I live this life that I want to live? And then,
what is the goal for you? I guess what is past ADing? Like what doors are you hoping to open? Like
Well,
what does
include
that
ADing
line
in
of
there
work?
too.
Yeah, yeah.
Where on the ladder do you want to AD? And then what Ian said.
Oh yeah.
so the goal is to first AD and then essentially direct and produce as well, and just be able to, because you're not really that creative. You're just like, all right, you're more of a scheduler, and you're like, okay, yeah, you can set background and things like that, and that's a little
That's kind of our
creative.
limit.
Yeah, that's like as limited, but you don't get to make any of the bigger creative choices. So I feel like as a producer and as a director, you have more of that creativity that you can do. And then just knowing how the scheduling and stuff works, you're like, okay, you're very mindful of everyone's time and efforts and stuff like that. So I feel like having been an actor and now working towards being an AD, I'm like, uh, I know, all right, like these actors need some time to get to this place if we're doing a scene like this and stuff like that. Or it's very
Yeah.
helpful.
The broader experience you have as an AD seems to just equal out to less questions, like less uncertainty, like more certainty, I guess, to put it in positive terms. Is like you as a former actor, you can understand that when you see a certain role in a certain place at a certain time, you understand that like this amount of makeup, this amount of wardrobe, they were doing this yesterday or the scene before that. And then also getting into the creative aspect of ADing and scheduling, at least on smaller things, like maybe not union, but I can on smaller things that I've done, the eight like scheduling is a creative part of fact, like when time is a factor and when money is a factor, the logistics factor into how the creative is put out there. So like it's the AD is focusing on the practical limitations of what you can get done in a set amount of time with the set amount of people and with the creative that's been decided. But also, like, I feel like it's got to be the same for Union. If the AD comes in and they're like, you can't do this movie in 30 days. You need to do something, and here's some ideas. Like, if we move this to here, like, and that's such a cool form of creativity. And that I think I don't know. I think you're just in the perfect. I think you're on the perfect track because, and I don't mean to come from saying like I know more than you because I think you got more days on set than I
Ian
do.
just has a lot of respect for your style right now.
Yeah, dude, I'm fucking loving it because it's you. The way that you can hold on to an end goal, I think, is something that is really important for ADing and production in general. Is being able to see that if you do these things, you put in this time, then you're gonna have a movie at the fucking end of this. I think this fucking. I just want to give you some more props, big dog.
Thank you.
Good job, big dog.
Yeah.
So
Thanks. All my trauma and hard work has paid off.
yeah. So I guess like what's down the line? Are you seeing yourself in California your whole life except for those 400 days? What are you thinking? What are you liking? You thinking that far?
I, in my heart, I know California is my home because you can go snowboarding, you can go skiing one day, you can go to the beach the
This is
next
my
day.
home because I can go
It's,
snowboarding.
yeah,
It's
like
great. All
you
in the
know,
you don't get it, Ian. All in the same day.
Oh,
do it
yeah.
all. Yeah, you can go to the beach, you can do it all at once, you know. Um, I've never lived anywhere else, so I don't know.
Not even
I
like a whatever school, internship, travel, anything. Just it's always been California for you.
always been California for me. I've
Have you
never
been out of the state though? Like, I mean, or I should say,
Oh,
yeah, like you know what I mean, extensively beyond family, friends. Like, have you just been able to go places you want to see? Are you truly California?
no, I have gone to like other states and stuff like that. Like I love to ski in Park City, so I'm like I
Okay.
try and go every winter type of thing, but I don't know like, oh, would I love living here, you
yeah.
know? And so it's like I like to go and visit different states and do different things, but I've never been like, oh, would I actually like to live here?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, New York's fun. You have the subway and all of that, but I'm like, that sounds so gross in the summertime. Like,
Yeah,
It's
would I
pretty
just
hot.
it's
live
just
there?
hot. It's just hot, and you get an orange drink. You don't want to be there.
Yeah,
Dude, a
yeah,
ham sandwich
exactly.
to
Small
Aki
bag
with.
of chips at the bodega. Yeah.
Yeah. But see, Ian, you were teasing. You're like, oh, because you have snowboarding. But then the next response from Vanessa is like, well, I've been to
The
Park City,
subway.
and the skiing there is not that great. So it's like, no,
I
actually,
know.
hold on.
So
Everything centers around a tall
it's
mountain
like,
covered in white shit.
and it's not even that. It's like you can just do so much in California all the time on any given day, and then other states, I feel like you're just a lot more limited,
Yeah.
and everything
Yeah,
just feels.
there's less options when you wake up in the
Yeah.
morning.
See,
If you're
yeah.
someone who's going to use your time outdoors and doing things, that seems like what you're getting at is the setting in California is so fucking pretty. And you go an hour and it's something slightly different but the same weather and it's just even prettier than where you were before. And you go another hour and then all of a sudden it's 300 fucking degrees and you're surrounded by sand and then you keep going and then
I
you're in
hate sand.
Bakersfield.
Yeah, 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 and then you're in Bakersfield.
Then you're in Bakersfield, which they also,
So
side note, mentioned in Fallout. That there was a joke of like, we can go get a place in Bakersfield, but they meant it nicely. And I'm like, even here, it's like you always just hear Bakersfield.
yeah.
Dude, wait, can I tell y'all a story about Bakersfield real quick? I might have said this on a past one, but I went to Bakersfield one time for a documentary, and we were filming with this guy, and we were filming at his apartment, and we went down the street, down the sidewalk to film
Oh,
at this in this field, and he was doing exercise stuff, and so we filmed a quick interview, and we're walking back to his apartment down the sidewalk, and we hear like sirens very far away, which is not atypical for Bakersfield. But they start getting closer and we hear like tires screeching and then all this and then we hear engine noise and then we hear tires screeching and engine noise and then we turn around and this fucking 95 two-door Honda Civic is flying down the road, going so fast. It dodges one car, the tail spins out, he cuts back the other way, and then hits the median and flies 15 feet in the air. The car does a flip in the air and lands on its roof on like the bush fence of the apartment complex across the street. The dude gets out of the car and he's wearing like a leather trench coat. And he's got like the Terminator 2 kid, the butt cut. Like it looks like he just jumped out of Terminator 2, wrecked his car, and is running from the cops, runs into the apartment complex, like is limping for 10 steps, and then just gets his stride and is sprinting. And then the cops pull up and oh, dude, the cops pulling up was the funniest part because they get out, they see the car, they see no one's in it, and then this dude that watched the whole thing, they like run up to him and they're like, "Where'd he go?" And he's like, "I didn't see anything." The first I could hear him from across the street. He was like, "I didn't see shit."
oh man.
I saw that dude
He's like,
watch the whole thing.
oh.
That's Bakersfield for me, and also Buck Owens is from there. They got the country music Hall of Fame thing.
Oh man.
Wonderful.
And this is
Oil
when
rig.
Vanessa goes, actually, I was born in Bakersfield.
Actually, I'm no,
Yeah,
I'm
like
Actually, that was my car. That was my
turn
cousin.
your camera right now. You're like, actually, Ian, there's the car.
Yeah,
here in Bakersfield.
it's still upside down, and this is my apartment complex.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and I know exactly what you're talking about because I do saw the whole thing.
Holy
yeah.
shit! Yeah, you
Crazy.
lied to the cops too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But oh man. But
All right, that
anyway.
was off.
No, you're
Yeah.
good. No,
Crazy.
another reason I wanted to have you on, Vanessa, is because it is refreshing to hear from someone who's from here and has admiration for California, not just because it's your home, but I'm sure part of it, because it's like part of what we talk about all the time is like neither of us are from where we're living now, and it's like there's pros and cons to where we're living. Like I love work here, but I probably talk shit about California more than I should. But and it's like now here you are, kind of like, no, I love this. They got snowboarding, and it's like, and you want to be a part of it.
I mean, and I think a big thing too, it's like my whole family's here. Like we're all in California, so and I'm a big like family girl. So it's one of those like, oh, on any given weekend on you can find something to do with your family or there's some sort of family event. and then you're just like, okay, cool. Or it's like, hey, family, like, what do we want to do type of thing, you
Yeah.
know?
Do you have a lot of
Always got a
siblings?
group.
I'm the oldest of three, so
Okay.
not many, but
Yeah.
yeah. And that's like so wonderful too, because it's like, yeah, like, all right, everybody works, but then it's like, hey, brother, like, what do you want to do? Hey, sister, like, let's go shopping or something, you know?
Yeah.
Hey sis, why don't you come with me to the mall?
Literally, I'm like, what's our favorite mall? Like, let's,
CCA, the mall behind the acting school.
No.
yeah,
You're close. I like the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually Westfield.
That's actually, do you even know all of the malls here?
Dude, I only go to Eastfield, bro.
Yeah. If you're not
all right.
following the Americana brand memes, you're not from here.
Exactly. If you're not following Americana brand memes, are you even from LA? Like,
Yeah. You probably have no idea what we're saying, Ian, but basically, like, kind of like a overheard in New York type vibe. You know how it's so niche? Like, you're like, we get it. Kind of almost like Bing Bong. So
Yeah.
there's an account that basically just is always referencing everything that's happening in LA, but in like the parameters of making fun of this mall area. Even to the point where like when the strike ended, there was like a photoshopped image of white smoke billowing from the mall, and they're like, they've announced the end of the strike.
Dude, there's this is a quick aside. I'm gonna mention it and change the subject. But there's an Instagram account for that, like for New Orleans, and it's called "Look at This Fucking Street," and it's just floods into it's just like fucked up streets in New Orleans. Because dude, sometimes there'll be a hole in a street, and you look down and you just see like running water, like a river, like 12 inches below the water. Like there are underground canals all over, so holes will fall, and then if you fall in, you're just in a canal underneath the ground.
Yeah.
Crazy. Is any of your family in the film industry?
my sister just graduated cosmetology school, so she's in the process of getting her license, but she did PA before, so she'll end up in the hair department. And then, yeah.
Ooh, one day you're gonna be scheduling with her. You're like, what do you mean you can't get this done?
The other person last week got it done faster than what I'm asking you, so why can't you do it?
Yeah, so I'm like, all right, you better know how to do these things, because like we're on a time schedule.
Yeah.
If you can't do a full blowout on a bleach blonde in 15 minutes, you're fired.
Tone in one session. What do you do?
Yeah. That's a fun little dynamic where it's just like at the end of the day, you like, I'm just thinking if something went wrong, you get the caller on the way home, like, so what are we doing this weekend? Like, oh, also, by the way, 20 minutes were lost today.
Yeah. You could have done better.
Yeah, because she's PA'd with me before. Like, we've done a few shows where she was a PA. And then, yeah, obviously, like, we'll carpool and stuff like that. And we'll take, like, the first 10 minutes of the drive to just, like, rant, like, oh my God, can you fucking believe X, Y, and Z? And then, okay, cool. Anyways, so are we going to get a sweet treat before we go home? Or are we just going to go home?
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So, I got two questions for you. So the first one is, if you could choose the ideal place, where are you hoping to do days? I mean, I know it might spread out, but you know what I mean?
I don't have an ideal place because I wouldn't even. I don't know. I'm just like,
dude, you're just focused on 600 right now.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like,
then I'll think
then
about
I'll be
it.
focused on 400. I'm like, wherever there's more work and I can like just get those 400 days. That's like, I'm like, who has more work available?
Yeah. Okay.
That's
fair.
Yeah.
And then the
something.
yeah, the other question was, and you can choose to elaborate on the account if you want, but you know, really, for me, I met you because of Instagram without talking to you. Like I mentioned to Ian earlier in the show that
I forgot about that.
it's literally because Instagram was like, follow this person. I was like, okay, they're posting set stuff. I probably should. And then I meet you like 2-3 years later. But
Wait, Yeah, what's your Instagram? What's it like? What do you do for that thing? What's
That's where
the
I'm getting
goal?
to. I wanted to
What's the
see like
thing?
what brought you to. We all have. My point was, yeah, what brought you to that? Because we all have our different versions. The way we have this podcast, what brought you to be like, I'm gonna do a different outlet of highlighting our work.
Me to it, honestly, was I have my personal Instagram, and then when you're at work, you have people that you meet and stuff like that, and they're like, "Oh, what's your Instagram? What's your Instagram?" And then you're like, "Well, I don't really want you to know what I'm doing in my private life,
Yeah.
essentially." So you're like, okay, I was like, you know what, I should, as soon as I like started PAing, I was like, I should make a work one so then the work people can follow me. And if I become friends with them outside of work, then I'll be like, here's this Instagram where we can do our weekend stuff, you know?
Oh man.
Um,
So this kind of supports what you were asking about, Ian, because I thought maybe, which is fair, we would get an explanation of you, like, I thought it would be cool to highlight this. It's creative, and I'm sure there's some of that, but you really were like, no, this is how I be professional and just keep this moving.
yeah, it
It's
really was. Yeah, it really was like, how do I keep it professional? But then I'm like, yeah, I'll, there's like a bunch of cool stuff. And then I don't want to post stuff because you've signed NDAs and all of that. So you're
Yeah.
like, all right, like, well, we eat every day. I'll post my food and stuff like that. Or if I'm on a cool location, and there's so many iconic Hollywood locations that
Yeah.
I've never been to, and then working on Daisy Jones and the Six, we got to go to, and then you're like, holy fuck, like snapping photos, like taking videos and stuff like that, and you're just like, cool. And it's an extension of like how I do post on my private Instagram of like, oh, I'm eating dinner here or whatever, but it's like, oh, this is where I'm working today type of thing.
Yeah.
But I normally will post it like months later or weeks later and stuff like
When we
that. And
can, yeah. That's kind of the dance we have going on here. Like, I'm like, I worked on a new show, and it's like, all right, maybe I'll remember to mention the name of it 4 months from now.
yeah.
I'm like, cool, I worked on, like, now I'm like, oh yeah, like I did 2 Star Wars shows, like, cool. And I
Oh, one of
can,
them aired. You can say which one.
yeah. So I did Mandalorian season 3 and Disney Plus's Ahsoka. So it's like crazy. And you're just like, when you're there every day, you're like, holy fuck, like, this is my job. I'm doing this. And then it
Yeah.
comes out and you're like, fuck, that was so cool.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
That's
Like Ian, the Star Wars world, and I mean this with love and respect. Like heavily for the ADs and PAs has kind of become like the same team in and out of the same shows. So it's like, yeah, Vanessa's in there.
that's so fucking cool. Also, dude, also self-promotion is one of the things that people that on social media is it's all a game of keeping your name in people's mouths and like leaving a good impression and then having something for people to like remember you by. But it sounds like you've been working steadily since you started, so it maybe isn't as much of a thing, but like when you're just posting things that are associated with work and people see your name next to it, see your face with it, such a big contribute. It's like almost a requirement nowadays, and I like it's that's such a cool move to have two things. You just approach each of them with honesty, like trying to just have fun and do both of them. But like one of them keeps work going and the other one's just for you. That's fucking I don't even know if you're realizing you're marketing yourself right now. That's fucking cool.
As I'm talking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what's happening. But
Oh.
it's
Oh,
oh yeah.
start getting
They,
endorsements from like caterers and stuff to start posting. That'd be
right? Yeah,
sick.
I'm like, on Cloud running shoes, please send me send
Yeah.
me shoes. Those are the ones I wear exclusively.
Yeah.
Hey.
I mean, if you choose to, I'll hit you up later about any links and socials you want us to post. I don't know if you want to mention them or not, but
I mean, just the Instagram, but
well, right. But I was like, I don't want to shout it out unless you want to say, because yeah, if you say it, people are gonna start being like, I want to follow Set Life over here.
I mean, follow me at vanessa.at.work on Instagram.
Ian's eyes. He's like, remember that. Like,
Yeah, remember,
That'll-
yeah. I mean, I'll try and post more, but I sometimes I just like don't post for months on there, so don't don't be mad at me if you do
Yeah.
choose, if anybody chooses to follow me.
She's warning you right now.
Yeah, I'm not like a daily poster. I'm just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, this was really cool, and I can post about it now.
Which is part of why I think both of us, in different ways, respect your view on it, because it's like, yeah, self-promoting is important. Your social media drives are important if that's, what you're doing. But it's like, it's like, like, how do you have time to do like these little skits and bits at like base camp every day and stuff? You know what I mean? Like, sure, it works for some people, but it's like, how? Like, why?
Yeah, like there's people on TikTok that like will post these videos, and I'm like, how do you have time to do that? Because I'm like scarfing my food, and halfway through it, I'm like, fuck, I should have taken a photo of this because I'm at this cool location. And I'm like, you know what? Just take a photo of the location. Like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
do,
yeah.
do a
And then
video.
don't post it then. It's like, oh, you
Yeah,
remembered on Saturday, and it's like, that's totally fine.
exactly. So it's like, I don't know how people are like putting together these like whole skits and all of that. I'm like,
We're actors, of course.
I'm like, oh, my whole thing would be like, I'm a PA, and then like running away to go grab a coffee because
Yeah.
like, somebody asked for something.
That's actually a good one, dude. Ooh, I support
Right?
that one. If I saw that, I support that.
You're
If I
like,
just saw the clip, like, I'm a PA, of course yeah, go ahead and just leave. I support
you're like,
that. You heard it here
I'm,
first.
yeah,
You could even do a series, like take it a step further, where it's like you start off, however, like you're introducing yourself, and then you stop on the radio and you immediately start walking
Yeah,
away,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then cut to whatever you're doing. Like cut to like the dumb shit that people have you like go. Like someone spilled a box of Pringles, and it's like, what? Me? I came all the way from over there. Like, why did? Oh, yeah, whatever.
Like you passed them on your way.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You're like, fuck,
I mean,
okay.
these could keep going. You don't
They
need
could,
our help, but just, some thoughts. We're
yeah,
the start of a new team here,
yeah. The start of it. Yeah, you heard it here first, folks.
Yeah. But so what's next for you? If I remember correctly, like what, do you have like a 6 a.m. call time tomorrow or something?
6:30.
I
Yeah,
was close. Okay. Because
you
you got
are
you got
close.
a
Yeah.
you got a while, right? It goes till like June or something.
This one goes until like mid-June, and so right now we're just early start days. I've been putting in like 14-hour days, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Vanessa's on a news show that, as always, we can't talk about.
the new show, and it it's a period piece, and it looks really cool so far. So
Which
that's
network is it again? I feel like we could say that without saying more.
a Apple. Then yeah,
Apple, yeah. No, I mean, like, you know what I mean? There's a million shows. It's like, oh, which one? Like,
yeah,
you guys don't know. We didn't even
yeah,
say where it's shooting.
yeah. So
And
um,
are you putting like 14 hours on the clock, or is it like that 14 with the commute? Dude, that's why. Are you booked on 12s?
so it's 14 hours on the clock. I get guaranteed 12 hours,
Yeah.
but putting in more
Yeah.
than that.
Most
And that's
shows are good about that these days.
yeah.
Where it's
Yeah.
the PAs are like the guaranteed 12, because some shows still won't, and it's like, well, it's like, oh, what, are you really gonna play that? We had a one early day game, like, come on.
Yeah.
You're
I don't
right.
understand how you book someone on a fucking day rate and then don't pay them the day rate. Like,
Because they're playing the non-union dance with like the only non-union like department. You know what I mean? It's like it's a
yeah,
thing with
that's
all the
not what the
studios. It's
union
not
was made
even
for.
this isn't even a pin or a point to one issue versus another. It's like it's a weird like gray area. You're like, well, everyone kind of agrees avoid that show
It's
when
the
you can.
capitalist, like, we're gonna take advantage if we can because we're gonna make more money, or we'll put whatever. It's
Just
Yeah.
the balance that
the
just puts
stupid
people in bad.
game. Yeah.
But at least, dude, this one sounds good. This sounds great. And dude, getting a little bit of time. Does it go to time and a half for 12 to 14?
You definitely get like all of those, and yeah, and then when you hit the double time, you get the double time and all of that. So that's like the
Sick.
nice thing. Yeah. But I think
Yeah.
that's also like California labor law.
Yeah. There's a lot. It's
So
Yeah,
all.
we follow that here. Like for the film industry, kind of everywhere follows the California labor law base, because no others.
To a degree.
There's
Yeah.
like two other states that have that sort of overtime per day law. Usually it's like built for 40-hour weeks. Like once you pass 40, if you're still an hourly labor worker, that you get overtime. But the industry standard is the California rules.
Yeah. Well, Ian, you got any more questions for Vanessa or anything, Vanessa, you want to share before we let you get out of here?
Dude, I got nothing. I think like it's a what a cool path, and it's
You've
again
changed
just
his
it's
outlook here. Look at his eyes. He's like,
No.
how do I sum this up?
it's cool to just throw yourself into something like and just go for it and be like, you know, when I get to this goal, I'll look up and like and it's fucking cool. I've heard of people with that approach to things, and I don't know if I've ever met someone that's like just fully like diving in. So it's been a pleasure to talk with you and to hear your outlook on things and to see, you know, just you going fucking whole hog and pursuing something this hard.
Thanks for having me. It's been a
Yeah, of
pleasure.
course. No, thank you for coming on. And it's good to see you and finally hear the full story. Hopefully
Yes.
hopefully now we can cross paths on a show again, or there's a day
I
on yours or something.
yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed you come
Yeah.
back and yeah.
Yeah. And then just in case you forgot, as I pass by you on set, I'll be like, this is gonna be a good life.
Yeah. I'll be like, how do you know this? Oh fuck yeah,
Like,
that's right.
oh.
Yeah.
And then someone's like, "What? Wait, what about that song?" You're like, "Nope, nope. Hold on. First team's walking in."
Yeah, first team's coming. We gotta go. Yeah.
Oh man. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you for coming on, Vanessa.
Thank you.
All right, that was cool.
That was sick, dude. Vanessa's a fucking straight shooter, dude.
Yeah. No,
She's
she's
a-
awesome. She's a rock star. That's why like there's just certain energy people bring on a set. That's why I'm like, I know I don't know her well on a personal level, but that led to being like, all right, let's talk more.
Yeah, and it's cool. Like, I don't know. I feel like I kept saying the same thing of just like, I don't know many people that were just like, I'm putting my head down and I'm doing this, and then they got to keep doing it. Like, it's fucking cool. I have friends that like did that with shooting and other things, but it's different when it's like the union grind of like, you know,
You didn't know about
going
that,
to
huh?
the factory.
The days and stuff. The stupid route for third area.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy that that's like a hard and fast requirement of you. It's like go study abroad. Like what the fuck?
But it's because you're,
Um,
yeah, it's just, again, it's so dumb. I know I'm not the only one. Some people will hear this and be like, why is he saying that? But let's be realistic, you know? Like,
It seems like it should be like something slightly different, like 600 in LA and then 400
I
more
yeah,
in
I mean,
LA, or like I don't know. Like
there's so
it's
many
cra-
different ways you can look at this. My personal opinion is, at the very least, it should be like, okay, just limit the jobs they can have, but allow it to happen here. Which is why I was saying, I've heard at the meetings brought up, like, can they do base camp? And it's like, yeah, like, that may not be their ideal, but it's like, give them something home. That's crazy. to me.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's limiting. Like people can't just go. Like when you think about it, it's got to be just a limiting factor for who gets into the fucking union. Cuz
But it's like it's weird how it then, they don't realize the problem they're creating. Like, for instance, and I'll tell you off air names, like people I know, and we both know actually, like New Mexico, for instance, who are having to have been looking for jobs in other states and moving around this year because these type of LA workers are going there because it's close, and then it's taking their jobs, and it's like, you're causing a mess. And it's like, and maybe it wasn't as transparent, you know, pre-slowdown strike, like, you know, when these hiccups happen, but it's like, it's just like, we're creating our own problem.
Yeah, cuz it seems like there's at least at that level PAing it seems like, I mean, there's always a club, there's always an in group, but it seems like there should, in LA, that's the one place where there's maybe more than enough work, even when it's a little slow. Like, but thinking about that, going to smaller markets, like I could understand going to Atlanta and like joining the fray there because it's so big, so many union shows down there, and you just hop on 3 TV shows and then you're like, whatever, the Blue Bloods TV cable shit.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
get 23
But it's just
episodes
like,
across like 8 months, and then you're like, got it.
I know there's a lot of issues at the top of the list right now with the unions, but it's like, that one's got to eventually make its way up there and adjust a little bit.
You know, at the risk of pushing us down this road even further, while we're trying to close out, it triggers the it's slimy because it's so omitting, it's so othering of other people. There's a whole there's a level at life, like I couldn't do that. Like I couldn't, if I was in LA in this exact, if my apartment was in LA and I wanted to do that route, I wouldn't be able to take it because I have two things tying me here. And it's crazy how many people will not have that latter option simply because someone said these are the rules and they're arbitrarily following them.
It just hasn't changed. Like I bet you if we looked back, you know what I mean? It's like it probably made sense once, and then now it's like, again, times change. Everything changes.
Yeah. And it to me, it smells the same as someone saying like McDonald's can pay you so little because it's supposed to be a starter job. It's those arbitrary rules where it's like teenagers are supposed to flip burgers. But
Right.
you go somewhere and who the fuck is serving your food? It doesn't turn it. That's not how it is. It's not, people can't just do that. And I don't know. I guess there's enough work, there's enough options, but it's wild for that to be at the core of how people climb a ladder and how you move up in an industry.
Yeah. I mean,
For that to be that privilege, that requirement to be baked in. It's weird.
I'm hoping anyone who watches this through YouTube, throw in some comments. I want to hear, like, it'd be nice to hear, you know, even be anonymous, doesn't matter. I want to hear.
I'm curious
thoughts
what
on
the
this one.
purpose is.
Yeah, whether someone can clarify or just throw in your own opinion on maybe what could be. It's just, that's a weird one.
Yeah, because I'm sure the benefits are great. Like the idea of working somewhere else, you, even if it's a similar place, like you go from Baton Rouge to Tallahassee, where it's the same rules, but like it's a different network. People operate differently. And but dude, going from LA to New York, I could understand if they made you do like 100 days in New York or something, because like it's funny working with production support, like getting LA producers that come out and have never done anything in New York. It's a whole different set of rules.
And vice
like,
versa. I love when I even heard, I mean, I was gonna say like things I even heard, like, you know, the paper PA I've seen on shows out here that are like, oh, because we're adopting the New York model for this show, and it's just like, you know, like my whole job is I'm just doing all the like I-9s and paperwork, and I'm here the 12 hours to just do that every day, and I'm like, oh, usually that's one of us whenever we're free, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not that every show does it, but I guess it's more common in New York, or once was.
It would. I mean, there's also like whenever I've been on commercials where they've had more that where the second is like not on set, they're doing paperwork. Like, but it does make sense for a lot of people to have. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny, and I understand that could be the intention, but
yeah.
That's
You
not
got
how it
thoughts
works.
about this? Yeah. If you got thoughts, please throw them in the comments. Would love to hear. But all right, so moving on. We got another episode in the books. We did it.
Yay!
So yeah. You know,
was
as
good.
always, thank you,
Onward
Connie.
to
Thank
next
you,
week.
Vanessa. Yeah. Onwards and outwards.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's the is it? I don't even know what it is.
Onward and upwards, but outwards makes more sense for the internet.
Yeah, keep moving forward. Yeah.
Out. Big hug for everyone. Okay, so this week we've got to watch Breach, not the one that I was in, but the one with Brucey Willis, and I have got to fucking roller skate down the Brooklyn Bridge. I gotta figure out. I gotta do a little bit of research on which bridge I should hit, because the
Either
Brooklyn
way,
Bridge I think has a wooden platform.
yeah, yeah. We won't. It's not. We don't have to go over the top for that. But yeah, let's figure it out. Film
I'm
it out.
looking
You
forward to
can.
it.
I think this is how we're gonna kick off officially our social campaign. Besides just announcements, the one pinned video we will forever have is however this goes.
Yeah. Oh God, I gotta.
So no
schedule
pressure.
this in.
No pressure. And it's
I
great
hope I
because you're in
don't
New
fall.
York, so if you're just like real dopes, it's like what? They're like he's probably making like this is probably his rap album. It's fine. Just take whatever.
Yeah. That would be good. I should see if I can get someone to roll with me to film me from a third person point of view.
Yeah, the creativity part's on you, but this is your shame moment. You're, going forward. make sure we watch the movies.
This is my fantasy football league. Shame.
I was thinking of
My
Game
team
of
did the
Thrones.
worst.
Yep. But all right, so thank you everyone for watching. If you're watching live on Twitch, thank you. If you're watching from YouTube, thank you. Whatever platform you're watching us from, you can see all our socials. You know, whether it's our panel, our descriptions. You know, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram. We record live through Twitch every Sunday, and then the recorded episodes go up on YouTube. So yeah. Ian, any thoughts?
The whole point of this is to build a little community and just share, you know, create a little pocket where people can speak and think thoughtfully about their experiences in their world and get a dose of our world. So, you know, if you're watching, we're stoked to have you, and let's get the conversations going, baby.
Let's keep it moving. All right. So we'll be back next week, guys. Again, thank you. All right.
We'll see you next week.
There it is. See you later, everybody.